Steve, we're live. I want to welcome everybody. I don't know what we're gonna call this, but we just jumped on here. We have breaking news. Breaking news. This is a young man that went to Jackson State, made history tonight. He made history by being the first NFL HBCU quarterback. First HBCU quarterback to be named to the Pro Bowl since the late, great Steve McNair. Now, I will say this, Steve. This has taken over the internet for the past 5 or 6 hours. Ever since he was named this afternoon, there are guys who want to turn in their Pro Bowl helmets. They want to say the Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything. They're talking about all this here kind of stuff. But before we get into the implications of it, I just want to know, Steve, what did you think about it when you first heard that Shedeur Sanders was being named to the Pro Bowl?
Well, let me say a few things. And I'm going to say, you say there's what's the name. This ain't outspoken, but we're going to speak a little. How about that? Speak a little on a Monday.
Yeah.
Because I know the folks been looking forward to, man, we're going to come back. And then I want to say something just real quick to my HBCU family. We had a tremendous loss of a young man, a Jackson State legend, especially on social media and representing those Tigers. Corey Collins, known as D. Corey C. Young brother lost his life. I was told this past weekend, and prayers to his family, prayers to his friends, and prayers to those that understand, what he meant to JSU. I mean, one of the things about Corey, which is crazy, before this whole YouTube thing, when I was traveling back and forth to schools, they actually had a Spotify podcast. And that's how I even knew about those guys. And this was back 2019. And he had started to understand, to talk about our schools. And so he was such an innovator. And, I'm just sad to hear that. And, I know we do a lot of foolishness on this internet, which disappoints me sometimes. But I will just say, and I think for all of us, prayers to his family and support those that loved him. And, like I say, and to his family, and, of course, didn't know you, Corey, personally like that. Like I know a lot of these other guys. But again, we give our condolences and stuff like that. But now on to this. And, listen, man, I can go one or two ways with this. I don't know if you ever saw that Max Kellerman, he did an interview, right? And he was talking about what he had to do, when they had to come up with the topics, and you had to basically take the opposite approach just because of the show, and even though you really didn't believe it and stuff like that. So if you need me to be the opposite guy and you be what Shedeur made, and I should be what, I'll play that role.
Well, I think this is a situation where I think you're very naive if you don't think about both sides of it. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of those situations, Steve, where I think on merit, anybody with any objective knowledge of the NFL, we can understand that this wasn't a decision made on merit. Can we agree on that?
I can 100% agree on that.
Right. Now, with that being said, we also got to accept that this is not the first time this has been done. Right. And so that's what's kind of getting me, is that a couple years ago, this was done by a guy who started 4 games, who was Lamar Jackson's backup. And I'm talking about Snoop Huntley, who was named to the Pro Bowl in 2023, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And my point is, people are losing their mind about this, saying that the Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything, whatever. My point in this is what I want to say is, I'm glad the NFL did this because of what they did last April. Let me kind of line this up for you, Steve, because
I want to know what the NFL they did last April.
No, what I'm saying, the NFL decided he was a 5th round draft pick, right? And I believe he was drafted in the 5th round, not on merit either. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think He earned a 5th round grade. I didn't think he deserved to be a 5th round draft pick, yet he was drafted in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. Now, we all know what this season was like for Shedeur. Starting in OTAs, training camp, beginning of the season where he was a 3rd stringer, moving to backup, and eventually started the last 7 games. End up having a game where he threw for 360 yards. Through all of that, we come to the realization that if we can accept that he wasn't given this Pro Bowl assignment on merit, can we also agree that he wasn't selected as a 5th round draft pick on merit as well?
How do you? Well, see, I don't know why you see. That's the assumption. The numbers can say on merit he's not a Pro Bowler, but then the leap you want me to make is the assumption that he was not drafted because of merit, and people evaluated him and thought he was a 5th round pick. Now that's my question.
What I'm saying is, again, if I can accept that he wasn't selected on merit as a 5th round pick, I also can make the accept that the NFL not and see, this is another thing. This wasn't a coach's selection. This wasn't a player vote. This wasn't a fan vote. This was the NFL. And you guys can do your research because I have. These selections, these alternates there's no real criteria of why they select these alternates. There's no criteria, right? I imagine it has to do with a lot of different factors, meaning who is available, who wants to come, who turns it down. We know the Pro Bowl quarterbacks, I believe, were Mahomes. The alternates were, we know the Pro Bowl quarterbacks were Josh Allen and Drake May.
And Justin Herbert. So so Herbert and Allen. So I looked this up because I wanted to make sure I had this on tap. So for the AFC, which the Cleveland Browns playing, Josh Allen was the starter, Drake May, Justin Herbert. So I'm assuming that because of Drake, and we can make that assumption pretty strong. Drake May is playing in the Super Bowl. They needed somebody to replace Drake May. And there you go with Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah. And they say that there's 2 other guys that they could have selected that could have been selected that they were injured, and that was Trevor Lawrence and what's my man name in Kansas City? Mahomes. Mahomes. So those 2 guys could have been selected, but one turned down due to injury, and one of them, I believe, just turned it down. So there's no real criteria for selecting an alternate, and the NFL selected Shedeur Sanders. Now, we can accept that it wasn't on merit, but right. But what was your thought when you heard the selection? That's what I want to hear, Steve.
Now, this is the hypocrisy. I'm gonna agree with you. See, this is what has bothered me with this whole thing with Shedeur, and this is the Shedeur defense. Like you say, they evaluated him and they said he wasn't a 5th round. But every time the NFL could make money off of that boy, they made money. We literally, because I was down in Tampa, and me and you did a 3-hour show of his first preseason game, and we had about 1,000 people watching. And the fact that they knew it, they put it on the NFL Network. They broadcasted it all over the place. We knew the drama that was going, and they knew that it was good for TV. So again, I just put us in on the joke. Just say, hey, listen, we know that y'all going to watch. We know y'all going to talk. Even the Cleveland Browns, who constantly said that this kid was basically going to be on the practice squad damn near, every time that there was a social media post, now mind you, the kid from Oregon was the higher drafted kid. We never saw him on social media, any video, but we saw Shedeur. So my thing is, don't play in our face like that. Just acknowledge once again, and we see this all the time, and we're going to do some shows about this going forward, about once again using the black body to make money off of us. And that's my problem. So everybody, so there's two sides. So, I said, and we might need to pull that up, that quote for Sean Merriman, right? As somebody, let me see. Let me pull that up because I think that'll be good just to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Shedeur is a polarizing figure, no doubt. And I must admit, I thought this was some kind of hoax or joke, Steve, to be honest with you, when I first heard it. I thought there was no chance he would be selected to the Pro Bowl by the NFL. And this is a quote by Sean Marion, the great Chargers linebacker. He says, I have a Pro Bowl helmet that I walk by almost every day. It's signed by some of the best players in the history of the NFL, legends, Hall of Famers, and real GOATs. The Pro Bowl used to be a badge of honor and respected. Things have changed. Now, again, obviously things have changed because they no longer tackle in the Pro Bowl. Right. So these things change. But I think what he's saying is it used to mean something when you would say a guy is a 2 or 3 time Pro Bowler, 5-time Pro Bowler. But I think we all could agree that doesn't mean what it used to mean. And this selection of Shedeur has very little to do with that, Steve.
Right. So that's the reason why I wanted to put this up, and I'll stop sharing this. Well, I thought that was important because there was a level of pride when you played in the NFL. Like I told you, my cousin Marcus McNeil, he probably played in one of the last Pro Bowls when they literally played 11 on 11, right? And there was a pride. And, people know I just throw big events and stuff like that. And guys in the 90s, the 2000s, and things like that, it was a big thing to go because remember, the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl. They just switched that and moved it in front and things like that. But that was a big thing. And you had guys that played in the Super Bowl that would go. When Jerry Rice, he never missed it.
Yeah.
He took pride in going out there and performing and things like that because it was good on good, best on best. But now we got into a point where football is not a football game, it's a flag football game. So for Sean Marion, it's no need him being mad because it's not even the game he played when he played the Pro Bowl. It's a flag football game. So if it's a flag football game, then let's put it for what it is. It's an entertainment. You know what? Because they know that these guys are, and I get it. It's a risky proposition to go out there and play real football and what you could lose. So they understood that because guys were barely, guys was, 2-hand touching anyway and stuff.
I don't remember what year it was, but it was the guy who was, I think he was rookie of the year. And he had led the NFL in rushing, and he played for the Patriots. And he went out there, forced me up in a flag football game on
before the game.
Yes,
on the stand.
Yes,
yeah.
And of course, he was never the same player.
Never.
And I think that if there was one event I think kind of changed the game, that event kind of changed the game, and then. Of course, and I think what really changed the game, Steve, another aspect of it, what really kind of killed it, is those couple years they took it away from Hawaii. The NFL wanted to reduce some costs because it wasn't the marketing earner that the Super Bowl and other games were, and so they wanted to. So they tried it in didn't they try it in Orlando one year? And I want to say maybe they even tried it in Vegas.
The Super Bowl where the Super Bowl city was.
Yeah.
But they actually did that first, I think. And then they moved it to Orlando.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and ultimately, I think the NFL took a situation where it wasn't getting the ratings that they wanted it to get. And they tried to cut costs, and in cutting costs, they essentially devalued the game. And let's be honest, Steve. When these guys were getting paid $50,000 to go out to the Pro Bowl when their salaries were $250,000, that's a different proposition now. When these guys are making $10 million, and you're still trying to pay them $50,000 to go out to the Pro Bowl, That's what kind of I think devalued it. The guys just started making so much money that it wasn't the financial incentive wasn't there.
Right. So, you know what? Shout out. Listen. This is person. I don't know. Could be a woman too. They back, right? That means we're doing a good job. They're back to try to correct us. And I'm glad that you're here. Now, we're going to get on your ass in a second, but I'm glad that you're here because all we want you to do is watch. So Penn State, listen, Sports Talk 24/7. We appreciate you. You're wrong about that because I can show you actually some graphics about James Madison and those kids. But, I just want to point that out, so. And I'm just going to tell you, see, this is like now, Penn State, I'm going to make the assumption. And Rocky, let's give me a little bit of breath here.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that you white. I'm going to assume that. See, us black folks, we always stay related. We don't care if you divorce, you leave, you change, you always part of our family. So, no, if you step with us, you always going to be with us. So that's the difference between us and y'all. So I'm just trying to tell you. So I just want to give you a cultural thing. I want to help you out there.
But, Steve, he might be white, but he could be down with the swirl, though, Steve. Does that make a difference?
Well, he's saying we always playing the race card. Man, listen, we play spades around here. We don't play no race cards, man. We play spades. We'll do that. So, he could be, what I'm saying? But I'm just letting the fact that he saw it and it popped up and he came on in the chat. I'm just glad he, we just need, I'm just messing with him. But, but back to your point about the money. And that's the thing about it is when you got guys, they're making so much money. Yeah. And for most of the people that go, like for the linemen, they do the tug of war now, stuff like that. A lot of guys, you know why they go? Because they get all expensive pay and they bring their family out there. And they, there's a free vacation. Let me let my kids see me do these things and stuff like that. Because see, when the Pro Bowl was out in Hawaii, guys would leave their chicks and they have a whole other group of chicks. I'm telling you, because I went out there and I'm telling you what I know. See, that's how you can get away. Because see, you see, man. So just to let everybody know, for us black people, don't know about the white people, it's a thing called a circuit. And it's the big event, Super Bowl, All-Star, you go to Cancun, you go to SSP, black thing where black folks gather, right? So Pro Bowl was one of those funny things that you really had to have your money because it used to be right after the Super Bowl. So it was very hard to go from the Super Bowl to wherever, out to Hawaii. So the really big ballers went out to Hawaii. And see, what they would do, they would bring their girlfriends and wives to the Super Bowl because everybody wanted to go to the Super Bowl and leave them at home and they head out the wire. And that's where the big baller chicks would come out. So that's why they would like to go out there. But now, going to Orlando, they ain't no big deal and stuff like that. So now it's really more of a family thing where you see these guys, they bring it. Because you see all the kids on the sideline throwing the balls and all that stuff and everything. Like, you ain't see that all out in Hawaii. That wasn't like that.
I think what they end up trying to make it is something similar to the NBA All-Star. It's trying to make it. They remember when they had that NBA experience,
right?
And that's what they're trying to do with the football. So again, I think the situation with Shedeur. Hey,
no, wait a minute, no, hold on. No, now Penn State. Now, what do you think about this though? Now you know what, Penn State. Now you're talking football. What do you think about this right here?
Well, again. I mean, there's a whole bunch of guys I was selected in front of Cam Ward. If you're talking business, I think Cam Ward is not a selection you make on merit. You know what I mean? But if you want to have somebody in the Pro Bowl that's going to get eyes to the television, then you got to have.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Blue. Because I was going to say, because you do get a check. You know what I'm saying? You do get a check. He's a young brother. He might want to go to the Pro Bowl, but there you go. So thank you, Blue.
I'm surprised Shedeur. One of the things about the Pro Bowl selection that surprised me, I don't know if y'all follow Shedeur or the Sanders boys on social media. I happen to do. They were in Paris this weekend, and it didn't look like they was interested in much football at all. They were at some of those big fashion shows, you know what I mean? And so again, I thought it was a joke when I first saw it, Steve. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was one of those parody accounts.
I did too. No, listen, and see, I'm big on not getting pranked on stuff. I hate that because I hate when people send me that stuff, right? So I saw it and I went to go research it. And I said, well, damn, he did make the Pro Bowl. And it was like, and the thing about it is, so we're doing a show on it. You know, First Take gonna do a show on it. You know, Pat McAfee gonna talk about it. But this is what they want. And if I'm Shedeur, because see, Shedeur is a businessman. Whatever I'm marketing, selling, or whatever, I'm making an ad for all that. Pro Bowl. And I'm even winking at the camera saying, yeah, I know I ain't, but that's okay. You got to be in on the joke.
Well, one thing we got to realize, and again, I'm not one of these guys that say that I'm not a conspiracy theorist where I say the NFL has a script, right?
Right.
But what I will say is the NFL is in the entertainment business most of all. I know it's the sports entertainment business, but I think, Steve, it's transitioned to the entertainment business, sport, entertainment and sports, because, we can see some of the things that are done on the field related to the referees officiating. There's some inconsistencies there that sometimes don't make any sense. We have timely calls to keep certain guys in the game. You know what I mean? There's all kind of things that happen. So again, I just think there's an aspect of entertainment that's part of the NFL now that we just gonna have to accept moving forward. And I think this selection of Shedeur is part of that. It's part of the entertainment aspect of the NFL. I'll say this. I don't know where Shedeur ranks as popular players in the NFL, but I'll say this without any hesitation. He's the most popular rookie in the NFL.
Oh, well, I would not argue with you on that. The jersey sales, even though he did not get this special jersey sale thing, that was faking a lie. See, that's one of those things. So he got this extra clause, which nobody gets and stuff like that. But he sells a lot of jerseys. That's a fact. We have literally seen people, which I found interesting, and I give him credit, smart marketing. See, look, that got they for Christmas, they got they Shedeur jersey, and he reposted and stuff like that. Rocky, why you didn't make your video so Shedeur can post? You get your Shedeur jersey.
I got mine in August, brother. I didn't have mine a while.
Oh yeah. So you had yours soon as he got drafted, huh?
Soon as he made the team. Soon as I made the team. Because you got to understand, we had some situations where I wasn't sure when they had him over on the field, over on the pasture, throwing to the equipment man and the ball boys. I didn't know what they were. I have no idea what was going on. This one of the things
$129 down until you knew specifically he was going to be on the team.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest with you, Shedeur has been one of those players that you can't really trust anything you hear about him.
Right.
What I mean by the outside, Kevin Stefanski said he was competing. All the players were competing for a starting job, and then you find out that he's not getting any reps with the first two teams. And then it comes out later that Kevin Stefanski was never considering Shedeur as part of the competition, though he never said that. His intent was to redshirt Shedeur this year. You know what I mean? Like anything you heard about Shedeur from the coaches, from the media, and then, us fans, we're trying to read into it. And I think we just got a lot of mixed messages up until the point Dillon Gabriel got hurt. And that's when, we said this early in the season. You can make all your plans you want to about players, but football is going to football. You know what I mean? Right. Football is going to happen. And I think that's what happened to Shedeur. Football happened, and he got an opportunity that I surely believe that he was never supposed to get. But football happened, And so
yeah, I think one of the things, and this is what I hate. See, this is what I hate. And I think this is what has happened to Shedeur through no fault of his own. I think people believe there's a large faction, right, that believe that it's nepotism for him, that he's given things, that he hasn't had to work hard for things in his life. I choose not to believe that because I know where Jack stayed. I know how hard he practiced because I knew people on the team, people around the team. I knew coaches. So I knew that he worked hard. But that is one of the things that has always followed him, that he did not have to be pushed. There was no quarterback, controversy. But, I mean, that happens with a lot of players. and stuff like that. So then he goes and the bubble gets burst by, to your point, from the NFL, right? They say, okay. And that's what people, they want to bring his head down and stuff like that. But you know what he did? Other than at one little time that I think he I think he cleared it up real quick, he kept his head down, man. And he kept working. It was one little time that I think he kind of just let his mouth get in front of him. But I'm not mad at that because overall, he was never the story. And people tried to make him a story. People tried to get him started.
This is a Negro right here. This is a Negro. This is a Negro.
You believe that?
Oh, yeah. This is a Negro.
Now, hold on now. Now listen.
Hey, his hair as nappy as my beard hair. I guarantee you that.
Listen, that Celebration Bowl was one of the most watched Celebration Bowls. You know what I'm saying? You know, and like you probably brought the casual fan in. So he brought the casual Caucasian in too. You know what I'm saying? Brought the casual Caucasian in.
No, but when I again, now one of the things that I think that's kind of unfair to Shedeur and almost unfair to Prime, because I don't think it's consistent with his actual personality or his brand, right? Shedeur being the black guys, Shedeur being the, how can I say this, Steve? His fan base as being black, right? And everybody against him is white. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that the Sanders family has such a cross-section of fan base. I think there's just as many black people that dislike the Sanders family as it is white people that dislike the Sanders. And I think there's just as many people
I'm
that
gonna disagree.
like the
Sanders family. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree. And the reason why I'm going to disagree is that, first of all, I think people have to understand, and I think this is what a lot of people, and I didn't want to say about white people, because like I said, man, we are in silos. I don't think a lot of white people realize that Deion Sanders had a reality show, and that people that wouldn't watch this boy, he was a little bitty boy. You know what I'm saying? He was not an unknown entity. He was literally on a reality show. What, he was 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there? Well, 8, 9, 10. People seen him when he was a little bitty kid. And then his daddy is Deion Sanders. He comes to Jackson State, and that whole thing about we about to bring HBCUs back, that was black folks were going crazy, bro. You know, oh my God, man, we finally about to do this thing. And then when Travis Hunter side, boy, you know, it was like white folks got shook. You know what I'm saying? And black folks, like, you know, so there was this thing that people saw this young man, and like I said again, and most people they're Deion Sanders fans. Like, you're a Deion Sanders fan. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Scotty was a Deion Sanders fan. I'm a Deion Sanders fan, but I'm an HBCU fan first. And I'm less of a fan because, again, me and Deion was in school when I was in school. It's hard for me to be a fan when I knew you, you know, like that. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't think very much of him until he played for the Cowboys.
Yeah, you know, like I say, stuff like that, you know. But overall, I think then you had, of course, sports writers, majority of them white, unfortunately, that write narratives. And that's the thing. And Deion has, and this goes back, and Rocky, you know this. Deion has never had a really good communication with sports writers and the media. Hell, he threw water on Tim McCarver at the World Series. I mean, at the well, that had been probably the NLCS because it wasn't the World Series. They had wanted to go to the World Series. Mm-hmm. So this goes all the way back of this thing with him. So I think that while, yes, are there white people that like Shedeur and all that? I totally agree. Not going to argue that. You know what I mean? But I do think that, and this is what, man, unfortunately, this is what sells tickets too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just want to Blue. You're right. I didn't acknowledge him, and he did, and that was DPI on him against Michael Irvin in that playoff game. That was DPI. Defensive pass interference. So just so you know, I
was here in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? We was doing the thing, too legit to quit. We was doing a little dance and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
You know, the one thing, like I always, now this is what I ended up admiring Deion for as a player. He wasn't gonna fit in the traditional box as a football player. I didn't appreciate it. Like everybody else, when I was younger, I thought he was a little bit too much, right?
Did you really?
Yeah. For me, it was almost too much country, almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. He ended up being a very cool dude, but I didn't think he started off as being a cool guy. It was almost over the top. It was almost like
the gold chain, the Jerry curl.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's keep it a buck. Let's, for some of the young folks don't understand that deal. And like I said, that's what I'm saying. Now, see, it's funny. So let me. I don't want to cut you off because I think you're going to the perfect place.
Yeah.
I went to school in Florida. I went to school with guys like that. My roommate was a guy like that. So I was used to it. You know what I'm saying? That was such a Florida thing. And so he was just amplifying. And that's why I tell people all the time, people in Florida State hated Deion. So that's what was funny. Deion was not loved at Florida State. Because to your point, they didn't like the gold chain. That he wasn't, yes or no, sir, and all that type of stuff. And he was Deion. So go ahead. But I think that's funny because there were people that, and black people were like, man, why you got all that gold during that Jerry curl? Yeah, that's true.
Going back to now, I always like to quote, and it gives you, I always like to quote that Detroit, I'm glad Detroit didn't draft me because they'd have to put me on layaway. Like he always, amongst all of that country bravado is what I would call it. He always would have some good one-liners, almost, and he later would say this, mimicking a great spokesman like Muhammad Ali and things like that. He, but again, he did it kind of over the top. And of course the Jerry curl, the tying up his hair. Wearing the rag on his head, like all that was, always a little over the top for me. But once he became a Cowboy and I was able to follow him a little more, got a chance to be around him because we had some mutual friends, I realized that he's really a quiet guy, really not that. That's when I found out that he didn't drink, didn't smoke, you know what I mean? Like he was like a really.
He had cut his Jerry curl by then. So he had cut out his Jerry curl. He was only down to 2 chains by the time he got to the Cowboys.
Yeah. But again, and through his reality show, I was able to see how truly he was committed to family. Yep. And again, we were contemporaries in that way. And my kids were young, his kids were young. And though he had tons more money than I had, he had some of the same concerns as a father raising young men and women that I had. And so I was able to, there was not, from a reality TV standpoint, he was some of the reality TV that I could digest because I wasn't really into the housewives and the real world and all that kind of stuff. But I was into what him and Pilar was doing until that went really bad. And that, and that's a whole nother, me and you have talked, at great nauseam about Deion. And like, there are so many stories in this storyline, not only for him, but just think about him going to Jackson State, coaching, winning the SWAC, going undefeated, going to Colorado, having a successful season, and even to the point to where he had an opportunity to kind of be a pioneer like Signetti, right? But rather than doing that, he was saying, I don't want no players worrying about NIL. I want them to worry about NFL. And Kirk Signetti, on the flip side of that, he said, I'm not worried about guys going to the NFL. I'm worried about guys who want the NIL, who have a high level of production already in college. And again, when I say this, Deion could have took that same approach, but he didn't. He tried to steer away from paying players, and that was quite peculiar to me.
Still paid them.
Huh?
He still paid them. That NIL was the same as Indiana's.
Well, what I'm saying is he didn't talk up paying, though, like I thought he would. He really talked about all the intangible aspects of playing in Colorado, and we saw how that got him, what that got him,
Oh, listen, now are we changing the subject? Or
we're not changing. Well, because there's something I want to address, and we'll address it. We'll address the Prime situation in a minute. But again, I want to fully, talk about this Shedeur situation.
Yep.
And we may have given it enough air, but I really want to also talk about Deion and him finding college players.
Whew.
Like, where does he think his players are unsafe? This is a situation where he is. I don't see how legally he gets a chance to do this.
Well, legally he can't. So let's start there. And I know this for a fact. I have talked to too many lawyers. Let me see. I want to pull up. Let's see here. Keep going. I'm gonna pull up his fine. I want people to see this fine. Did you post a graphic of the fine?
Yeah, but it's not a.
I thought you posted that with the fine.
Yeah, I did, but it wasn't it was a.
Yeah, here it is. No, you got it. Here it is right here. Hold on. Okay, this is it. Okay, hold on. Let me. This is insane, and you know what? I'm gonna do another thing too. I'm gonna show this. Oh, wait a minute.
Hey guys, hey, Mr. Calvin, I'm finna do something here. I want to thank everybody who's been watching on the Off Script channel. I want to appreciate y'all. We're gonna continue this conversation on the Rocky Miller channel. I want to thank y'all. We're gonna suspend it here in just a second. Go ahead and switch over. Type 1 once you switched over, and I'll go ahead and suspend the Off Script channel. I'm gonna put the link in here again, so you guys can go ahead and switch over to the Rocky Miller channel. And I want to thank everybody who has been watching on the Off Script channel, no doubt.